Greetings everybody, the present video is brought to you by James, and he gets some information about female nature and the desolate lady of the 20th century. To assist everybody with understanding how he got to the present status of undertakings among people, most of them were involved in taking degrees in courses in household economics. Not only is home economics a junior high school course today, but it was once a completely separate degree where women learned to become proper professional housewives. Affluent spouses and fathers sent their young wives to be educated. Yet for what reason did the well-off men do this? Did they simply need to push ladies far from their functioning lives, or did men make for ladies what they personally subtly yearned for? A large number of us have heard before that men love their families by working and being away from their families, while ladies love their families by really investing energy with them. I'm certain that numerous men might want to invest more energy with their kids in the event that they could, but in the late 19th and mid-20th century, men didn't have that extravagance. For the majority of the 20th century, the ideal state taught to ladies by society and men was for ladies to remain at home, prepare treats, deal with the children, and keep the home clean. This is the best way for ladies to avoid the male authoritative reach, permitting men to create the 20th century framework, including streets, rail line organizations, and the electric lattice. Men assembled all that required to be done. So in all actuality, what does this has to do with men heading out in a different direction? Ladies breaking free from the homes was offered to ladies as a way for them to head out in a different direction based on what was viewed as harsh male nature. They defied being placed in probably the most socially unwelcoming places on the planet that ladies have at any point resided in. The incongruity is that ladies requested for residing space in suburbia for their families, thinking back to the 1940s and 50s. However, when they had the homes that they generally needed, they then attempted frantically to get away from that specific resident gain plan. Assuming I needed to make a speculation, I'd say that ladies didn't go to work in droves during the 1970s and 80s due to impulse freedom and the third flood of women's liberation. All things being equal, they went to work since they were very forlorn and exhausted in their rural Kutan homes, kept from all friendly connection, so the decision separated residing in a social desert or going to work, and having others around them. At the point when the main gatherings of ladies wandered into the labor force en masse during the 1960s, the conditions were generally male, so for the ladies that were early adopters, they got consideration from the men at work and could impart and not feel secluded and exhausted. In any case, as an ever-increasing number of ladies entered the labor force, ladies needed to begin managing each other in progressively female work areas. Certainly, they were not generally exhausted, yet they presently needed to confront what is going on where they were progressively contending and squabbling with different ladies at work and creating problems for men, so the unavoidable began occurring. Ladies went from being socially starved, desolate, and troubled at home to turning out to be considerably more hopeless in the labor force. It's sort of entertaining, yet there are many studies that discuss the possibility that ladies have become less blissful over the last 30 to 20 years since they entered the labor force en masse. They are less forlorn today, however, much less blissful in light of the fact that they're encircled by different ladies. Ladies went from the social separation skillet in suburbia and bounced into a functioning fire pit, loaded up with different ladies. As numerous ladies felt horrible for being distant from everyone else at home while their spouses and kids were out, this eventually prompted an ascent in no shortcoming divorce filings when ladies were permitted to separate. Then, with the presentation of no-issue divorce, ladies began separating from their spouses because of expanded misery from being separated from everyone else at home. Anyway, whose shortcoming is this ongoing social designing damnation that we think of ourselves as ready? Men gave ladies their thought process thinking it would make ladies cheerful, but it blew up. Men in the 20th century would have rather not had 5 to 10 children any longer. Family is easing the homesteads and moving into the urban communities. Most men just needed a few children, however, the genuine issue was how to manage all their inactive spouses. So Edward Bernays, as well as numerous social specialists in the right on time to mid-20th centuries, started taking a gander at ways of persuading ladies to remain at home and construct their homes while men went to work. Yet the social designers would never have anticipated the upset. Conception prevention pills, fetus removals, and no-issue divorce obliterated the fantasy that numerous social specialists had planned, and ladies entering the labor force at this point did not want to have an ideal home in suburbia prepared for youngsters at any second, since they could now get pregnant whenever they needed. It was the apprehension about pregnancy and loss of control that got ladies into suburbia in any case. Contraception pills and no misleading separation cause them to have sufficient command over their conceptive fates to enter the labor force. It appears like ladies were much of the time content being desolate before the approach of the advancements of prophylactic innovation. When those advancements were made, that is when ladies felt free to the point of entering the labor force. Up until the anti-conception medication pill and no shortcoming divorce, ladies lived in apprehension about being deserted by men in the event that they weren't hitched to them. In those days, the main way that men would apparently consent to the responsibility of marriage is on the off chance that he wasn't deserted by his significant other, anytime while as yet being compelled to manage the monetary commitment of managing kids. Men in those days appeared to comprehend what was happening far superior than men today. Concerning people with conception prevention, ladies turned out to be free roaming and could travel every which way however they wanted. For human natural history, ladies were all frequently safeguarded and didn't typically have a say regarding their lives. They got new opportunities that they never had in nature, as well as in social orders before the 1960s. All in all, is anyone surprised that ladies doing anything they desire these days is making them unhappier than at any other time? The entire thought of getting ladies furious at the purported male-centric society has to do with the possibility that they dislike it in light of the fact that in manners they don't have the ability to be happy and fulfilled in the modern world like men do. Ladies need to contend in a purported man's reality. On the off chance that they could do without this world, for what reason don't they go off and make their own framework and welcome men to live in it? We as a whole know that won't occur. I challenge ladies to plan and fabricate their own networks with practically no help of men. The incongruity is that forlorn ladies furnished with anti-conception medication pills and no shortcoming divorces are annihilating the social texture of our ongoing progress. At the present time, there doesn't seem, by all accounts, to be anything that we can do about this. Virtual entertainment is one more source for socially secluded ladies nowadays. These kinds of things are simply terrible substitutes for ladies not having a child in that frame of mind to keep them involved. Numerous ladies don't need kids these days, however, the main thing that could quiet them is countless children encompassing them. MGTOW makes many ladies' brains insane in light of the fact that they're now encountering social segregation and forlornness, on account of James Hurta's theme. Gratitude for taking your day-to-day portion of red pills. Recollect the red pill daily fends the separation legal counselors off. Partake in the remainder of your day and good wishes.